Hi, let us learn about cubic polynomials. So today we are going to talk about cubic polynomials, but we are going to study it using an example. So we have an example in form of a question. So the question says, find the cubic polynomial. Find the cubic polynomial which takes place or which takes the following values. So we have y1 is equals to 24. We have y3 is equals to 120. We have y5 is equals to 336. Then we have y7 is equals to 720. So the question is asking us obtain the value of y8. So we are being asked to find the cubic polynomial which takes the following values. We have these values here. Then the question is obtain the value of y8. So we are going to say solution. Let's find the solution. The first thing to do this, or step number 1, is to tabulate or to form the difference table. So we have x and y. No, we have x, y. We want to find the difference table. So we have x and y. From our values here, we are going to write them here. So we have x, this is 1, we have 3, we have 5, we have 7. So our values of y are 24, we have 120, we have 336, and this is 720. So how do we form a difference table? So we have change in y. We have change in y. So we write, or the first change in y we have. So you usually take the second one minus the first one. So it is 120 minus 24, which will give us 96. You write it between the two values. Then we have 336 minus 120, which will give us 216. Then we have 720, subtract 336, we have 384. So the second difference will be 216 minus 96, which will give us 120. Then we have 384 minus 216, which will give us 168. Then the last one, we have 168 minus 120, which will give us 48. Are we together at that point? So in this case here, h is equals to 2. And how do we find 2? 2 is found from the difference between the x's. So we have 3 minus 1, which is 2, 5 minus 3, which is 2, 7 minus 2, which is equals to 2. Then it means because they are in the same range, so this equation or this polynomial, we can say it is called an interpolation, since it has the same range. 7 minus 3, 5 is 2, 5 minus 2, that is what we are calling it range. So then we continue. We say with x naught is equals to 1, our x naught here is equals to 1. So we have x is equals to 1 plus 2p, or x or p is equals to x minus 1 over 2. That is when you substitute this and making p to be our subject. So we have p is equals to x minus 1. So substituting, let's continue. Substituting the value of p in the formula. So the interpolation formula goes by y n x is equals to y naught plus p change in y naught plus p, then p minus 1 divided by 2 change in y naught plus p, then you have p minus 1, p minus 2 divided by 3 change in y naught plus, we have many values there, plus the last one which will be p minus 1, p minus 2, we have many p's, then we have p minus n plus 1, p minus n plus 1, then we divide by n, so multiplied by change in y naught. So I want us to replace our p's and our change in y's. Our p is x minus 1 over 2. So where there is p, we put x minus 1 over 2. Then where there is change in y's, we are going to find those values in our difference table here. So we have yx is equals to 24. Our y0 is 24. Y naught, this is 24 here. This is the 24 here. This is our y naught. So plus p, we've said p is equals to x minus 1 over 2. So we have x minus 1 over 2. We put it into bracket. We multiply by p. We multiply by change in y naught. So change in y naught, change is y naught is 96. So change in y naught, this one and this one, these are y naughts. So change in y naught, we get it's 96. So we multiply by 96 plus we have p multiplied by p minus 1. So we have x minus 1, that is p, multiplied by p minus 1. So our p is x minus 1 over 2. So we have x minus 1 over 2 minus 1. Then you multiply by change in y naught again. So change in y naught here will be is equals to 120. So we are using the first value. So we have 120. Then you divide by 2. Then you have plus. We have plus. Now the last one, because our difference table ends at this point 448. So we are going to use the last point here. So we have x minus 1 over 2. Okay, this is, so we follow the sequence. So this is x minus 1 over 2, x minus 1 over 2 minus 1, we multiply by 120, but our difference here ends at 48. So we'll have x minus 1 over 2, x minus 1 over 2 minus 1. So in this case, we're going to have x minus 1 over 2. Then we have x minus 1 over 2 minus 1. Okay. Then we have x minus 1 over 2 minus 2. So it means that our equation will end up to this point, but this is the infinite point or the end value of n. So then we divide by 6. Then we multiply by change in y, which is 48. We have 48 here. So opening the brackets, or opening the brackets here, we are going to form an equation. When you open the bracket, we are going to have x cubic plus 6x squared plus 11x plus 6. So to determine y8, the one which you are told to obtain here in this question, we were asked to obtain the value of y8. So to determine y8, we observe that p is equals to x minus 1 over 2, and in this case our x is equals to 8. So our p will be equals to, you replace this x with 8, so we have 8 minus 1 divided by 2, which is equals to 7 over 2. So we are going to replace, this will be the value of p. So in what we formed here, we are going to replace it with 7 over 2. So we are going to have, so replacing p into the above formed equation or polynomial. This is the polynomial here. So we are going where there is p, this is our p. X minus 1 over 2, you have to remember that that is our p. So we are going to replace this with 7 over 2 that we found here. So we are going to have y of 8, we are finding 8 is equals to 24 plus, we are going to have, this is 7 over 2, so 7 over 2 multiplied by 96 plus, we are going to have, this is 7 over 2, 7 over 2 multiplied by, we are going to have 7 over 2 minus 1, 7 over 2 minus 1 divided by 2, you multiply by 120. The whole thing you multiply by 120, plus we have this one here, so this is 7 over 2 multiplied by 7 over 2 minus 1, 7 over 2 minus 1, then we have 7 over 2 minus 2, 2 minus 2, then you divide by 6, you multiply by 48. When you open the brackets and when you do all this calculation using your calculator, you are going to find the value of y8 will be equal to 990. So I have like a small nb here, not by, let's write it here, nb, not by. So this process, we are going to say that this process of finding the value of y for some value of x outside, we are saying outside the given range, is called extrapolation. And this example demonstrates the fact that if a tabulated function is a polynomial, then both interpolation and extrapolation would give exact values. So what it means that in this case, since the values or the range of x between one x and the other is let's say it's even, and then you may be given another one that the values, for example here we can say 3 minus 1 is 2. Then you realize that this is 7. 7 minus 3 is 4. Then it means that the range is not equal. Then that means it's an extrapolation. But in this case, this is an interpolation.